Ambassador stood at the window of her ship and looked at the massive space station floating in the darkness. The Galactic Council Station was the largest structure she had ever seen. It was built by 12 different species over thousands of years. Lights covered every surface, and ships from 100 worlds moved around it like insects around a bright flower. She took a deep breath and touched the glass. This was the moment humanity had waited for. After 50 years of first contact, after decades of small trades and careful diplomacy, Earth had finally been invited to join the Galactic Council. She was the one chosen to represent her entire species. "Ambassador, we are ready to dock," said Captain from behind her. Turned and nodded was a tall man with hair and kind eyes. He had served in Earth's space fleet for 30 years. He was one of the best officers humanity had, and she was glad he was here with her. "Thank you, Captain," she said. "How do I look?" Smiled, like someone who is about to make history. Laughed softly. She wore the official uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. It was simple and elegant, dark blue with silver edges. On her chest was a small pin showing Earth from space. She had practiced her speech 1,000 times. She knew every word, every pause, every gesture. But still she was nervous. The ship moved slowly into the docking area. Through the window, could see representatives from other species watching. There were the tall beings with pale skin and 4 arms. There were the small creatures covered in brown fur. There were the who looked like walking trees with glowing eyes. And there were many others, so many others. "Remember," said quietly, "you are not alone. All of Earth stands behind you." Nodded, she picked up her tablet which held all her documents and proposals. Then she walked toward the airlock. The door opened, and she stepped onto the station. The first thing she noticed was how cold it was. The council kept their station at a temperature comfortable for most species, which meant it was too cold for humans. Did not show any discomfort. She kept her face calm and professional. An official waited for her. He was taller than any human, nearly 3 meters in height. His 4 arms were folded across his chest, and his silver eyes looked down at her with something that might have been curiosity or contempt. "Ambassador of Earth," he said. His voice was deep and musical. "I am High Minister of the Dominion. I will escort you to the council chamber." "Thank you," High Minister said. She bowed slightly, as was the custom. "It is an honor to meet you." Said nothing, he simply turned and began walking, followed. The corridors of the station were wide and high, built to fit species of all sizes. Strange art covered the walls, and plants from different worlds grew in special containers. Tried to memorize everything she saw. Her people would want to know every detail. As they walked, she noticed that other beings stopped to watch her pass. Some whispered to each other. Some pointed. Humans were still rare in this part of the galaxy. Most species had never seen one in person. "You are smaller than I expected," said suddenly. Looked up at him. "We are a young species," she replied. "We are still growing." Made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Growing, yes, that is what concerns many on the council." "Concerns them." Humans spread quickly. You went from 1 planet to 12 colonies in less than a century. Some believe you will not stop until you have taken everything. Chose her words carefully. "We have no desire to take anything that belongs to others. We only wish to find our place among the stars. We come in peace." Stopped walking. He turned to face her, and for a moment his silver eyes seemed to glow brighter. "Peace," he said. "Such a simple word, but peace requires trust, Ambassador, and trust must be earned." Before could respond, turned and continued walking. She followed in silence. The council chamber was enormous. It was a circular room with hundreds of seats arranged in rising levels around a central platform. Representatives from every member species sat in their designated areas. The noise was incredible, a mixture of voices, clicks, songs, and sounds could not even describe. Led her to the central platform. Here, she would speak to the entire council. Here, she would ask for humanity to be accepted. "You may begin when the signal sounds," said. Then he walked away to join the other. Stood alone on the platform. She looked around at the thousands of alien faces watching her. Some seemed friendly, some seemed hostile, most showed no emotion at all. A deep tone rang through the chamber, the signal. Activated her translator and began to speak. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," she said. "I am Ambassador, representative of Earth and all humanity. I come before you today with a simple message. We wish to be your friends." She spoke for nearly an hour. She talked about humanity's history, its struggles, its dreams. She talked about what humans could offer to the galactic community. She talked about trade, science, art, and cooperation. She talked about peace. When she finished, the chamber was silent. Then slowly, some species began to make sounds of approval. Others remained quiet. They remained quiet. An old stood up. He was the speaker of the council, the one who managed all proceedings. "Thank you, Ambassador," he said. His voice was high and gentle. "The council will now discuss your proposal. You will wait in the guest quarters until we reach a decision." Bowed, "Thank you, Speaker. I am grateful for this opportunity." She was escorted out of the chamber by 2 guards. They led her to a comfortable room with a window overlooking the stars. Food and water had been prepared for her, adjusted for human needs. She sat down and waited. Hours passed, tried to sleep but could not. She kept thinking about everything she had said. Had she made a mistake? Had she offended someone? The waiting was torture. Finally, the door opened. High Minister entered alone. Stood up quickly. "High Minister, is there news?" Closed the door behind him. His face was impossible to read. "The council has made a decision," he said. And walked closer. His 4 arms hung at his sides. "The Dominion has decided that humanity is too dangerous. You spread too fast. You breed too quickly. You will eventually become a threat to everyone." Felt her heart begin to race. "What are you saying?" "I am saying that peace was never an option, Ambassador. Not for your kind." Moved faster than could react. One of his arms shot forward and grabbed her throat. Another pressed something against her chest. Pain exploded through her body. Tried to scream, but no sound came out. She felt her legs give way. She fell to the floor, her body shaking. "Your recording device," said, looking at the small camera on her uniform. "It is still active, yes. Good. Let your people see this. Let them know what happens to those who reach beyond their place." With her last strength, looked into the camera. Blood ran from her mouth. Her eyes were filled with tears. "Earth," she whispered, "I am sorry." Pressed the device against her chest again. This time, she did not move afterward. The High Minister stood over her body for a moment. Then he turned and walked out of the room. Far away on Earth, Admiral Ho watched the transmission in silence. Around him, the entire command center had gone quiet. Men and women who had served in 100 battles stood frozen, their faces pale. The screen showed its body, lying on the floor of an alien room. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Ho reached for his console. His hand was steady, his voice was cold. "Contact the President," he said. "Tell her the Envoy is dead. Tell her the Council has made their choice." He looked at the screen one more time, at the body of a woman who had gone to space believing in peace. "And tell her to authorize the extermination protocol." The officer beside him swallowed hard. "Sir, are you sure? Once we start, there is no going back." Ho turned to face him. There was no anger in his eyes, no rage, only something much worse. "Certainty." "They killed her while she spoke of peace," he said. "They murdered a diplomat. They broadcast it to us as a warning." He turned back to the screen. "They wanted us to be afraid. Instead, they will learn why humanity has never been conquered. Not by nature, not by war, not by anything. He pressed the button. Activate the protocol, all of it. Across Earth, in hidden bases under mountains and beneath oceans, machines that had slept for decades began to wake. The galaxy noticed the silence 3 days after Ambassador died. It started small. Human trading ships that were supposed to arrive at ports never came. Messages sent to human colonies received no reply. Contracts that needed human signatures remained unsigned. At first, the other species did not care. Humans were young and unimportant. They had only 12 colonies. Their technology was primitive compared to the ancient races. If they wanted to hide in their corner of space, let them. But then more time passed, a week, 2 weeks, a month. The silence grew louder. On the Galactic Council station, Speaker called an emergency meeting. The old stood at the center of the chamber and looked at the assembled representatives with worried eyes. We have received no communication from Earth or any human colony for 37 days, he announced. All attempts to contact them have failed. Ships sent to investigate have not returned. A murmur spread through the chamber. High Minister sat in the section. His face showed no emotion. He had expected some response from the humans, perhaps angry messages or a formal declaration of war. He had prepared speeches to defend his actions. He had planned to call humans aggressive and dangerous. He had evidence ready to show that they would have eventually attacked anyway. But silence, this he had not expected. A representative raised one of her branch-like arms. Perhaps they are mourning, she suggested. Their ambassador was killed. They may need time to process their grief. For 37 days, another voice called out, without a single message. Stood up, all eyes turned to him. The humans are cowards, he said loudly. They came here speaking of peace and friendship, but when they faced true power, they ran. They hide now because they know they cannot fight us. They know that the Dominion is stronger than their entire species. Some in the chamber nodded, others looked uncertain. I say we ignore them, continued. Let them hide in their darkness. Eventually they will come crawling back, begging to be part of our community. And when they do, we will show them their proper place. Speaker frowned. High Minister, with respect, we still do not know why our scout ships have not returned. 3 vessels from 3 different species have entered human space. None have sent any signals back. Equipment failure, said with a wave of his hand. Human space is full of radiation and debris. Their region of the galaxy is unstable, nothing more. The speaker did not look convinced, but he nodded slowly. Very well, we will wait and observe, but I suggest we send no more ships until we understand what is happening. The meeting ended. Representatives returned to their quarters. Life on the station continued as normal. But in the dark spaces between stars, something was moving. Admiral Ho stood on the bridge of the carrier ship Eternal Dawn. It was the largest ship humanity had ever built, over 5 kilometers long and carrying enough weapons to destroy a planet. For 60 years, it had waited in the shadow of a dead star, hidden from all sensors, known only to the highest levels of Earth's government. It was not alone. Around the Eternal Dawn floated 300 other ships, battleships, destroyers, carriers, and vessels that had no names because they were too terrible to name. This was the first fleet of the Extermination Protocol. There were 4 more fleets just like it, hidden in other parts of the galaxy. Ho looked at the main screen. It showed a map of known space, with all the Council species marked in different colors. The Dominion was shown in purple. It was one of the largest territories. Status report, Ho said. Commander stepped forward. She was young for her rank, only 35 years old, but she had proven herself in a dozen training exercises and simulations. She was smart, fast, and completely loyal to humanity. All fleets are in position, Admiral, she said. The 2nd fleet has reached the border. 3rd fleet is near space. 4th fleet is positioned at the main trade routes. Fifth Fleet guards our colonies. And our secret weapons. Checked her tablet. The Genesis project is ready. All 12 stations have powered up successfully. We can fire on your command. Ho nodded slowly. The Genesis project was humanity's greatest secret. 12 massive stations hidden throughout the galaxy, each one capable of destroying an entire solar system. They had been built over 3 decades, using technology that humans had never revealed to the other species. The galaxy thought humans were young and weak. They thought human technology was primitive. They had no idea what humanity was truly capable of. Have there been any communications from the Council? Ho asked. Several replied. They have sent scout ships to investigate our silence. We captured all of them. The crews? Held in secure locations. They have not been harmed. Ho was quiet for a moment. He thought about. He had known her for 20 years. They had served together when they were both young officers. She had always believed in peace. She had always believed that humans could find a place among the stars without war. She had been wrong. Show me the recording again, he said quietly. Hesitated. Sir, you have watched it many times already. Show me. The main screen changed. It showed final moments, grabbing her throat, the device pressing against her chest, her body falling to the floor, her last words. Earth, I am sorry. Ho watched without blinking. Around him, the bridge crew watched in silence. Many of them had seen this recording before. It still affected them every time. When it ended, Ho turned to face his crew. They think we are hiding, he said. They think we are afraid. They think this silence is weakness. He walked to the front of the bridge and looked out at the stars. But we are not hiding. We are preparing. We are not afraid. We are angry. And this silence is not weakness. He turned back to his crew. It is the last moment of peace the galaxy will ever know. A communication officer raised his hand. Admiral, we are receiving a message from Earth. It is from the President. Put it on screen. The screen changed to show President. She was an older woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. She had led Earth for 12 years and was known for her calm nature and careful decisions. But today her eyes were different. There was something cold in them. Admiral Ho, she said, the Council of Earth has made its final decision. We have watched the recording of Ambassador's death 5,000 times. We have analyzed every word, every action, every moment. She paused. They did not act alone. Our intelligence shows that other Council species knew about the assassination plan. Some supported it. Some did nothing to stop it. They watched as our ambassador was murdered and they said nothing. Ho felt his jaw tighten. Who else was involved? At least 5 other species provided information or support. The details are in the files I am sending you now. A data package arrived at the ship's computers. Ho would review it later. What are your orders, Madam President? He asked. Looked directly into the camera. Her voice was steady. You are authorized to begin Phase 1. Show them what humanity has become. Show them what we built while they looked down on us. Show them why killing our people was the worst mistake they ever made. And Phase 2. You will receive those orders when the time comes. For now, focus on they started this. They will be the first to understand their error. The transmission ended. Ho stood still for a long moment. Then he turned to Commander. Signal all fleets. Phase 1 begins in 1 hour. Saluted, yes, Admiral. She began sending the orders. Around the galaxy, hidden human ships received the signal. Crews that had waited for years prepared for battle. Weapons that had never been fired charged with terrible energy. Ho looked out at the stars one more time. Somewhere out there was probably laughing. He was probably telling stories about how he killed the human ambassador. He was probably proud. He would not be proud for much longer. They wanted to see what humans are made of, Ho said softly. "They are about to find out." The engines of the Eternal Dawn roared to life. 300 ships followed. The largest military force in human history emerged from the shadows and began its journey toward space. The silence was over. The war had begun, and humanity intended to finish it. The border station, 7, was the first to fall. It happened so fast that the crew barely understood what was happening. One moment, they were monitoring the empty space around them. The next moment, their sensors showed hundreds of unknown ships appearing from nowhere. Commander, the station's senior officer, stared at his screen in disbelief. The ships were human. That was impossible. Humans did not have this many ships. Humans did not have this kind of technology. Humans were supposed to be primitive. "Signal the," ordered, his voice shaking. "Tell them we are under attack. Tell them." He never finished the sentence. A beam of white light hit the station. It cut through the shields like they were made of paper. It cut through the metal walls like they were made of air. In less than 3 seconds, 7 was nothing but floating debris. Admiral Ho watched from the bridge of the Eternal Dawn. His face showed no emotion. "Target destroyed," Commander reported. "No survivors." "Move to the next target," Ho said. The First Fleet continued forward. In the next 12 hours, they destroyed 14 border stations. Each one fell in seconds. Each one sent desperate messages to there before dying. Each message was the same. "The humans are here. They have weapons we cannot stop. Send help." Help did not come in time. On the Of Prime, High Minister received the reports with growing horror. He stood in the war room surrounded by military commanders, politicians, and advisors. Everyone was shouting. "How is this possible?" one general demanded. "Our intelligence said humans had less than 100 military ships." "Our intelligence was wrong," another voice said. "Wrong, we have watched them for decades. We have spies in their systems. How could we miss an entire war fleet?" Said nothing. He stared at the map on the main screen. Red marks showed destroyed stations. The red marks were spreading. "High Minister," someone said, "what should we do?" Finally spoke. His voice was quiet. "Call back all our fleets, every ship we have, and contact the Council. We need allies." The Council, after what we did to the human ambassador. Turned to face the speaker. What we did saved them all. Humanity would have spread through the galaxy like a disease. They would have taken everything. I stopped that. With respect, High Minister, it does not look like you stopped anything. It looks like you made them very angry. Before could respond, a communication officer interrupted. "Sir, we are receiving a message from the human fleet. They say they want to speak with you directly." The room went silent. Me asked. "Yes, sir, by name." They asked for High Minister. Looked at the others in the room. Some shook their heads, others looked frightened, but was not a coward. He had killed a human with his own hands. He would not run from them now. "Put it on screen," he ordered. The screen changed. Admiral Ho appeared. He was sitting in a simple chair on a simple bridge. He looked calm. He looked like a man who was completely in control. "High Minister," Ho said, "we finally meet." Forced himself to stand tall. "You have attacked territory. This is an act of war." "No," Ho replied. "War requires 2 sides that can fight. This is not war. This is justice." "Justice? You call destroying our stations justice?" "I call it a beginning." Ho leaned forward slightly. "You killed Ambassador. You murdered a diplomat who came to you in peace. You recorded it and sent it to us as a message. Do you remember what you said?" "Said nothing." "Let me remind you. You said, let them know what happens to those who reach beyond their place." Ho paused. "Well, High Minister, now you will learn what happens to those who harm humanity. If you think you can defeat the Dominion, you are a fool. We have the largest fleet in the galaxy. We have allies. You are one species against many." "Are we?" Ho pressed something on his chair. The screen split to show 4 other images, 4 other human fleets, each one as large as the first fleet. They were positioned throughout the galaxy at strategic points near every major species. This is the second fleet, Ho said, currently positioned at the border. The third fleet is near space. The fourth fleet controls the main trade routes. The fifth fleet protects our colonies. Felt his forearms go numb. We have been building these fleets for 60 years, Ho continued. We hid them in the spaces between stars, in the shadows of dead planets, in places your sensors could never find. You thought we were young and weak. You thought we were primitive. His eyes hardened. You were wrong. This is impossible, whispered. How could you build all of this without anyone knowing? Because we knew this day would come. We always knew. Humans have been fighting wars for 10,000 years. We have learned that peace is only possible when you are strong enough to destroy anyone who threatens you. Ho stood up from his chair. Here are my terms, High Minister. You will surrender yourself to human custody. You will face trial for the murder of Ambassador. The Dominion will pay reparations to Earth for this crime, and you will publicly admit what you did and why. And if we refuse? Ho smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. Then I will show you the Genesis Project. The what? The screen changed again. It showed a massive structure floating in space. It was shaped like a sphere, covered in strange patterns of light. It was bigger than any ship had ever seen. We built 12 of these, Ho said. Each one can generate a wave of energy that destroys everything in an entire solar system. Stars, planets, stations, ships, everything. Felt like he might collapse. You would destroy our. Not our first choice. We are not monsters, High Minister. We do not kill civilians for pleasure, but if you force us to, we will remove the Dominion from existence. Completely. Permanently. The war room was silent. Everyone stared at the screen in horror. You have 12 hours to accept my terms, Ho said. After that, we will assume you have chosen war, and we will respond accordingly. The transmission ended. Stood still for a long moment. Then his legs gave out and he collapsed into a chair. What have I done? He whispered. Around him, his advisors and commanders began to argue. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to surrender. Some wanted to call the council for help. The noise filled the room like a storm. But did not hear any of it. He was thinking about the look in her eyes as she died, about her last words. Earth, I am sorry. She had been sorry for failing her mission, sorry for not bringing peace. But now understood the truth. Peace had never been an option, not because of humans, because of him. He had made the choice to kill her. He had made the choice to send that recording. He had thought he was protecting his people. Instead, he had doomed them. High Minister, someone said, what do we do? Looked up, everyone was watching him, waiting for orders, waiting for leadership. But he had no orders to give. He had no plan. For the first time in his life, he had no idea what to do. The humans had not just beaten them. They had not just surprised them. They had completely and utterly outplayed them. Every assumption they had made was wrong. Every calculation was wrong. And now they would pay for that mistake. The clock was ticking. 12 hours until the deadline. 12 hours until humanity decided the fate of an entire species. Closed his eyes. He had wanted to teach humans their place in the galaxy. Instead, they had taught him something far more important. Never anger a species that has spent 10,000 years learning how to kill. The 12 hours passed slowly on Prime. The government argued and debated through every minute. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to surrender. Some wanted to run. In the end, they chose to fight. High Minister had convinced them. He spoke of honor. He spoke of their ancient history as warriors. He spoke of their allies who would surely come to help. He said that humans were bluffing. He said their weapons could not be as powerful as they claimed. He was wrong. Commander led the assault on Prime. She had asked Admiral Ho for this honor, and he had granted it. She wanted to look into his eyes when his world fell. The fleet met them at the edge of their solar system. It was an impressive sight. Over 2,000 ships formed a wall of metal and firepower. They had gathered every vessel they could find, called back from every corner of their territory. The First Fleet had only 300 ships. The commander sent a message. "Human vessels, you are outnumbered. Surrender now and we will show mercy." Smiled and replied with 2 words, "Demonstrate Genesis." Deep in space, far from the battlefield, one of the Genesis stations powered up. Its surface began to glow with white light. Energy gathered at its center, building and building until the entire structure seemed to be made of pure fire. Then it released. A wave of force expanded outward from the station. It passed through the fleet in seconds. It did not damage the ships. It did not destroy anything. But every piece of technology on those ships stopped working. Engines died. Weapons went silent. Shields disappeared. 2,000 warships became 2,000 pieces of floating metal. "What did you do?" The commander screamed over the emergency communication system. "We turned off your power," replied calmly. "Every ship in your fleet is now helpless. Your weapons cannot fire. Your engines cannot move. You are finished." She leaned forward in her chair. The Genesis stations can do much worse. They can release energy that tears apart atoms. They can destroy entire stars. What you just experienced was the gentle setting. Would you like to see what happens when we use full power? There was silence on the other end. "Surrender your fleet," continued. "Open your ships to our boarding teams. Do this and your crews will live. Refuse, and we will demonstrate what humanity is truly capable of." The commander surrendered. It took 6 hours to secure the fleet. Human soldiers boarded each ship and took the crews prisoner. They were not cruel. They did not torture or abuse. They simply removed them from their vessels and placed them in secure holding areas. Then the First Fleet moved toward Prime. The planet was beautiful from space. It had green oceans and purple land. 3 moons orbited around it. Cities covered much of its surface, home to 12 billion. Looked at it and felt nothing. "Signal the surface," she ordered. "Tell them we are here for High Minister. We will not harm civilians. We will not destroy their cities. We only want justice." The message was sent. The response came quickly. "Human Commander, this is the Council. High Minister has fled. We do not know where he is. Please, we surrender. Do not hurt our people." Frowned, "Find him." Her tactical officer worked quickly. "Scanning the planet now. There are thousands of ships leaving the surface. Any one of them could be carrying him. Can we track them all?" "Yes, but it will take time." Thought for a moment, then she made a decision. "Broadcast this message on all frequencies. Tell everyone on the planet and in those ships that we will give 1 million credits to anyone who reveals location. Tell them that if he is not delivered to us within 6 hours, we will begin destroying their infrastructure. Power stations, communication towers, transportation hubs. We will take apart their civilization piece by piece until they give us what we want." The message was broadcast. Within 30 minutes, they had over 100 reports. Citizens who hated, soldiers who blamed him for the war, politicians who wanted to save themselves. All of them pointed to the same location. Was on a ship called the Silent Shadow. It was heading for the outer edge of the solar system, trying to escape into deep space. "Intercept course," ordered. The Eternal Dawn was faster than any ship. They caught the Silent Shadow in less than an hour, sent a message to the fleeing vessel. "High Minister, this is Commander of the Earth Carrier Eternal Dawn. Stop your engines and prepare to be boarded. If you resist, we will destroy your ship." There was no response. "High Minister, I will not ask again." Still no response. Sighed, "Disable their engines." A precise shot from the eternal dawn hit the silent Shadow's engines. The ship shuddered and stopped moving. It floated helplessly in the darkness. "Send a boarding team," said. "Bring to me alive." 20 human soldiers entered the silent Shadow. They moved through the ship quickly and efficiently. They found crew members who immediately surrendered. They found guards who tried to fight and were quickly defeated. They found in his private quarters, sitting alone in the dark. He did not resist. He did not say a word. He simply stood up and let them put restraints on his 4 arms. They brought him to the eternal dawn. Was waiting in the main hangar. She stood with her hands behind her back, watching as the soldiers brought the prisoner before her. Looked smaller than she expected. His silver eyes had lost their glow. He looked tired and defeated. "High Minister," said, "you are under arrest for the murder of Ambassador of Earth. You will be transported to human space, where you will face trial for your crimes." Finally spoke. His voice was rough and quiet. "You have one. What more do you want?" "I want you to understand something," stepped closer to him. "Ambassador was my sister." His eyes widened. She was not just a diplomat, she was not just a symbol, she was a real person. She had a family, she had friends, she had a life that you took from her. His voice did not shake, her face did not show anger, but something in her eyes made step back. "You killed her because you thought humans were weak. You killed her because you thought we would not fight back. You were wrong on both counts." She turned away from him. "Take him to the cells. Make sure he is comfortable. He will need his strength for the trial." The soldiers led away. Stood alone in the hangar for a long moment. She thought about her sister. She thought about all the times they had talked about the future, about peace, about humanity's place among the stars. Had believed so strongly that cooperation was possible. She had dedicated her life to that dream. And now she was gone. Closed her eyes. A single tear ran down her cheek, but only one. There would be time for grief later. Right now there was work to do. She activated her communicator. "Admiral Ho, this is Commander. We have in custody. The fleet has surrendered. Prime is secured." Ho's voice came through clearly. "Excellent work, Commander. What is the civilian situation?" "No civilian casualties. We followed the protocol exactly. Infrastructure is intact. The population is scared but unharmed." "Good, we are not here to destroy them. We are here for justice." Nodded even though he could not see her. "What are our next orders?" "Return to the council station. Bring. It is time for the galaxy to see what happens to those who harm humanity." "Understood, Admiral." The transmission ended. Walked to the bridge and gave the orders. The first fleet began its journey back to the heart of the galaxy. Behind them, Prime remained intact. Its people were safe. Its cities still stood. But nothing would ever be the same. They had learned a lesson that they would never forget. The galaxy had learned a lesson. Humanity was not to be underestimated. And humanity's enemies did not survive. The Galactic Council Station had never been so quiet. Representatives from every species sat in their seats, but no one spoke. No one moved. They watched the central platform where a single human stood. Admiral Ho looked around the chamber. He saw fear in hundreds of alien eyes. He saw respect. He saw something that had never been there before when humans entered this room. He saw understanding. "Thank you for gathering," Ho said. His voice filled the chamber. "I know many of you did not want to attend this meeting. I know some of you tried to run, but here you are, here we all are." He paused and looked at the empty seat where the representative used to sit. 63 days ago, Ambassador came to this station. She came in peace. She came with hope. She believed that humanity could find its place among the stars through cooperation and friendship. Ho pulled out a small device. He pressed a button and a holographic image appeared above his head. It showed, smiling and alive. This is how she looked when she left Earth. She was excited. She was proud. She had spent her entire life preparing for this moment. The image changed. It showed lying on the floor of the guest quarters, blood on her face, her eyes empty. And this is how she died, murdered by High Minister, in this station, under the protection of this council. Several representatives looked away. Others could not stop staring. We have now, Ho continued. He will face trial on Earth. He will answer for his crimes, but he is not the only one responsible. The Admiral pressed another button. A list of names appeared in the hologram. These are the names of council members and officials who knew about the assassination plan. Some helped plan it. Some provided information. Some simply knew it would happen and said nothing. The chamber erupted in noise. Representatives shouted denials. Some tried to leave but found human soldiers blocking the exits. Ho waited for the noise to die down. We are not here to execute these individuals, he said calmly. We are not here to destroy your governments or occupy your worlds. That is not what humanity wants. He looked around the room. We want something much simpler. We want a promise, a guarantee, a law that will stand for as long as this council exists. Speaker the Old stood up slowly. His voice was weak but steady. What law do you propose? Ho smiled slightly. The law of consequences. It will state that any attack on a human diplomat, official, or citizen will be considered an act of war against all of humanity. It will state that the responsible party, their government, and their entire species will face immediate and complete retaliation. He let the words sink in. You thought we were weak. You thought we were young. You thought you could kill one of our people and face no consequences. Now you know the truth. Humanity does not forgive. Humanity does not forget. And humanity does not lose. A representative raised her branch-like arm. Admiral, what you are proposing is extreme. No other species has such protections. No other species needs them, Ho replied. No other species has been treated the way we were treated. We came here asking for membership. We came here offering friendship. And you responded by murdering our ambassador. He pointed at the... You knew about the plan. You did nothing. He pointed at an official. You provided information about human security measures. He pointed at a dozen other representatives. Each of you played a part. Each of you thought humans were too weak to matter. You were all wrong. The chamber was silent again. Here is what will happen now, Ho said. You will pass this law, every species will sign it, every government will enforce it, and humanity will be watching to make sure you keep your word. And if we refuse, someone asked. Ho looked at the speaker. It was a military commander from one of the larger species. If you refuse, we will activate the full extermination protocol, not just for everyone who was involved. We have 12 Genesis stations positioned throughout the galaxy. Each one can destroy an entire solar system. We are not bluffing. We are not negotiating. We are telling you what will happen. The commander sat down slowly. Speaker spoke again. Admiral Ho, humanity has proven itself today. You have shown strength beyond what any of us imagined. But strength alone does not build a future. How can we move forward from this? Ho's expression softened slightly. That is a fair question, and I have an answer. He pressed his device again. The hologram changed to show Commander walking onto the platform. She carried something in her arms, a small box made of dark wood. This box contains the ashes of Ambassador, Ho said. She wanted to bring peace to the galaxy. She died trying to achieve that dream. We will not let her dream die with her. Place the box on a small stand in the center of the platform. This station will become home to a memorial, Ho continued. A place where all species can come to remember what happened here, to remember the cost of fear and hatred, to remember that peace requires courage. He looked at the memorial. Humanity does not want to rule the galaxy. We do not want to destroy other species. We want what wanted, a place among the stars, friendship with those who offer friendship, peace with those who keep the peace. He turned back to the council. But we will never again be weak. We will never again trust blindly. And we will never again let our people die without consequences. Speaker bowed his head. The council accepts your terms. We will pass the law of consequences. We will sign it, and we will honor it. One by one, the other representatives agreed. Some did so willingly. Some did so out of fear, but all of them agreed. The vote was unanimous. After the ceremony, Ho stood alone at the memorial, joined him. They looked at the small box that held ashes. "Do you think she would be proud?" asked quietly. Ho thought for a moment. "I think she would be sad. She wanted peace through understanding, not fear." "But we got peace." "Yes, we did," Ho sighed. "Maybe someday it will be real peace. Maybe someday the galaxy will respect humanity because of what we can offer, not because of what we can destroy." Nodded, "That will take time." "We have time." Ho put his hand on the memorial. "We have all the time in the universe." They stood in silence for a long moment. Outside the station, human ships patrolled the area. Throughout the galaxy, other human fleets maintained their positions. The Genesis stations remained powered and ready. Humanity had arrived, not as guests, not as supplicants, as equals, as a power that could not be ignored or attacked without terrible consequences. On Earth, President addressed her people. She told them about the victory. She told them about the new law. She told them about the memorial for Ambassador. "Today we have secured our future," she said. "Today we have shown the galaxy who we are. We are not conquerors. We are not destroyers, but we are not victims either. We are humanity, and we will never be treated as less than what we are." In every human city, on every human colony, people celebrated. They had been afraid for so long, afraid of the vast and powerful civilizations around them, afraid of being crushed by species that had traveled the stars for thousands of years before humans learned to write. Now they were afraid no longer. And far away in a prison cell on a human ship, High Minister sat in darkness. He would face trial. He would be found guilty. He would spend the rest of his life paying for what he had done. But the true punishment was not the prison. The true punishment was knowing that he had been wrong about everything. Humans were not weak. Humans were not primitive. Humans were the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever seen. And he had made them angry. Closed his eyes and thought about her final words, about her last breath. She had said she was sorry, but was the one who was sorry now. And he would be sorry for the rest of his life.